There's a good chance that you have some very unrealistic expectations about what's going to happen as you start engaging in this inner work, emotional work, trauma work, shadow work, EFT tapping, various techniques. And we want to take a look at these expectations because they can really set you off the path, make you think you're doing it wrong, make you quit too early, and so on. Whether it's intentional or not, a lot of marketing, a lot of success stories and other things create an image in a lot of our minds about what our life is going to look like once we start doing this emotional work. And a lot of these expectations are about external results. Right? So I did the practice, I started the releasing practice, and then I got a new job, or I got the career of my dreams, the home of my dreams, the new relationship, and so on. These are the expectations I want to not put limiting beliefs around. That's really important. But give you a different framework around expectation and to help this all feel more smooth and natural and positive as opposed to a constant sense of why isn't this working and where's my big result. I actually suggest not having expectations as far as external results of what your life is going to look like. Not yet. You can have things as your intentions, as your goals. That is totally fine in the external sense. But so much of this inner work stuff is actually quite subtle and nuanced that we want to be looking for and perhaps measuring based on much smaller and nuanced aspects. And being inner work, we want those expectations or those things we look for to be inner, to be based on our own emotional reactions and responses rather than, hey, I've been tapping for this month or I've been doing this program for a while and I still don't have money. Well, let's not go there yet. Right? Again, I know you've heard a lot of success stories about the money and it's not your fault. What I suggest doing is taking a look at, for example, something that is a trigger in your day-to-day life, maybe not every day, but it's something that upsets you. It's something that's causing you suffering on some regular basis. A particular way someone communicates at work, a particular person that you interact with or even see on the news for that matter, how you relate to being in traffic, your daily commute, the stuff that happens on the subway. Observing, becoming mindful of your level of frustration, your level of emotional intensity around that situation. Now, if you're doing a particular practice that you've come across, let's say you're doing some regular EFT tapping around one particular trigger or the anger that it brings up. If after some consistency, you start to notice that, hey, you know, I used to be tense the whole time, I used to be chewing on that experience for hours after I got home, but it's starting to present itself that like I get a little bit annoyed, but it doesn't last as long, and I'm moving on more quickly. And there are even times where I'm in that commute and I go, you know what, hey, I'll just do some breaths, or this is a chance to do some tapping or whatever, because I'm just sitting here in the car. These are the wins. These are the smaller wins that are very easy to overlook. Because yeah, maybe you don't have that testimonial that's like, I started doing this and within a month I have the new career. But if you're expecting that, you're not even going to notice or care half the time about the things like the reduction in stress in the traffic jam because they don't look nearly as exciting or as big a deal as what you were expecting. So it's this balancing act of you have some benchmarks, right? We need some sort of assessment to see that the tool is working for you, that it's having some positive impact in your life. Right? And I don't really prescribe to the idea that any technique works for everyone, any facilitator works for everyone, but we want to have something to measure it that's not, hey, where's my video testimonial where I got the new dream job? We want to be looking for aspects that you can see, subtle improvements that imply, okay, if I keep doing this, that growth will continue in such a way that a new life is going to be inevitable. As hard as that might be to believe, these different responses to the same stimuli a little less stress, a little more peace in your day. That's going to start forming new neural pathways. That's going to change your behaviors, which is going to have ripple effects. It's very possible 2 years from now you'll be saying, wow, yeah, you know what? I do have this new thing and this new thing, and I am looking at my life a completely different way. But I never necessarily had that big transcendental moment where everything blew apart and my whole life turned around. Doesn't look like that for everyone. In fact, I'd say the little small wins, sometimes you don't even notice them at all, is far more common than the giant breakthrough. Now, can you have a breakthrough? Can you have a miracle healing tomorrow? Absolutely. But if you expect that and you compare to that, you're going to miss out on this incredibly beautiful, subtle, rich process that absolutely can change your life. So just manage your expectations by focusing less on success stories of others and what their external life looks like, what you expect your external life to look like. Instead, look at where am I experiencing suffering right now on a consistent basis? Is what I'm doing making some headwind in reducing that suffering? And let that be enough in the beginning and see if it continues to move forward. The only other thing I'll add is a lot of practices have a big kind of impact in the beginning and then seemingly much less. That's okay, that's totally normal. A lot of times the first time you do something, or the first month, or even several months, is working on the surface layer stuff that's been building up for years or decades. It's bursting at the seams to come out. Then that does, and now you're dealing with stuff that's more subtle, more entrenched in the nervous system, maybe more traumatic, and that's going to take a lot more art and nuance to work through. That's totally okay. So hope that helps. If you have any questions, just let me know, and I will see you next time. Thank you.